Gonna make you feel crazy. Doja Cat might have had something to do with what happened to him. After Matthew's tragic passing, Doja Cat deleted all of her videos except for this. Obviously, the comments on that video are crazy. People are like, what? Did you have something to do with this? She now deletes the video. There's nothing up now. Take a closer look at this logo and you'll see that something is off. Now the word friends is 7 letters, and in between each letter is a dot that represents each of the friends.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scary and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, unusual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. I just want to thank all the seekers, man, who's watching the videos and commented down below. I greatly appreciate your support. That's the we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Seek the truth.
If you have kids, you probably had no idea that digging a hole in the sand can be this dangerous. In 2024, Teresa and Jason were vacationing in Florida with their 7-year-old daughter Sloan and their 9-year-old son Maddox. They were at the beach when their kids began playing and digging in the sand. They dug a 4 to 6 foot hole when suddenly the sand collapsed, burying Sloan first and then her brother Maddox on top of her. Their parents were sitting only a few feet away and tried their best to quickly save them, but Sloan was sucked by the sand completely. Like, her whole body was in the sand, and Maddox was only sucked in from the chest down. People at the beach quickly tried to dig the sand out to help save these 2 kids, but the walls just kept collapsing in. And after calling for help, it took about 20 minutes to get the kids out. Maddox did survive, but Sloan unfortunately lost her life. This is so devastating because I've never heard anyone talk about this before. And seeing your child lose their life by doing something so innocent like playing in the sand, I don't know how you can ever get over that. It's been advised that children should not be digging deeper than 2 feet because of how dangerous this is.
These are some of the strangest crime stories you'll ever hear. A man once robbed a bank and wrote down his demands on a piece of paper that had his full name and his address on the back, which obviously led to his arrest. Smart guy. This woman and her children were in a Babies R Us when she decided to steal a crib, but on the way out she forgot to grab the stroller that had her kid in it. I mean, she kinda had one job. An intoxicated woman was once pulled over after driving in one of these things on the road. Yeah, like those things that you drove around in as a kid. And when they asked her what she was doing, she said that she wanted to be a professional wrestler and that this was how to do it. Not a good look.
Oh yeah, she lost it, bro. Driving down the road.
Gruesome facts you didn't know, part 112. If you ever have kidney stones, simply take a ride on Thunder Mountain at Disney. In 2016, researchers took a model kidney on the ride to see if this rumor was actually true. They found that sitting in the back seat of the coaster would pass kidney stones 64% of the time. Sitting in the front, only about 17% of the time. This photo from the early 1900s shows 2 boys who were exposed to the same smallpox source. One was vaccinated, one wasn't. In 2007, at the age of only 38, Mark Bamber passed away from heart failure. To accommodate his 700+ pound body, a special mahogany casket was made, which was nearly 8 feet long and 30 inches deep. At the time, there was no hearses that could accommodate a casket that large, so it had to be pulled by horse. After a horse riding accident, Emily Eccles was left with her jaw hanging on by only 1 millimeter of skin. Her surgeon said that her injury is the worst they've seen outside of a war zone. It took facial reconstructive surgeon Ricardo Muhammad Ali 5.5 hours to perform the surgery. This is her ready to go back to school just 1 month after the accident. In 1995, at the age of 61, artist William Utermohlen was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. From the time of his diagnosis until the year 2000, he created self-portraits, a powerful documentation of his descent into the illness. In 1923, jockey Frank Hayes won a race at Belmont Park in New York despite being dead. Mid-race, he suffered from a heart attack but managed to stay in the saddle until he crossed the finish line.
I don't know how that was even possible, man. He still won that race. People didn't notice. That's eerie. Truly, man. Where he at? Abandoned
Here are some
car lot?
interesting abandoned places that you haven't seen before. This is an abandoned traffic jam in Belgium, which looks exactly like something out of The Last of Us.
Yeah.
This is an abandoned bunker that just has a ton of old vintage cars sitting in there. Why'd they leave them all? This is an abandoned ghost village in Turkey known as the Purge al-Babas. It has 587 unoccupied castles, and it looks like something AI made to me, to be honest. This was Detroit's Mark Twain Library, which was closed in 1996 for renovations and never opened again. This was a German expedition cruise ship that hit an uncharted reef in the Sandfly Passage of the Solomon Islands. This is an abandoned theater in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I never saw this in the office. This is a car graveyard after a Chinese car company went bankrupt and had nothing to do with them. This is the eerie yellow brick road of the abandoned Land of Oz theme park in North Carolina, which actually I think has been reopened possibly since. This is another abandoned theater in Pennsylvania, which is where Scranton is too. Why are y'all abandoning so many theaters in Pennsylvania? This is an escalator in an abandoned mall that was reclaimed by nature. Also looks something straight out of The Last of Us, which makes sense because that takes place 20 years in the future when things are abandoned. I just love abandoned things.
Those two things did look like that last
Now that
time.
I've seen it, I can't unsee it. So the other day, a Reddit user posted this photo to Reddit. It's of his apartment at night. He had been complaining of hearing rustling noises in his apartment over the last couple nights. Many users thought they could kind of see something in this area of his kitchen, but I couldn't, so I looked at the brightened version. This is the photo brightened. And I know what you're gonna say, yes it does look like Keanu Reeves, but look at how tall he is compared to the fridge. But it gets so much worse. This is a video he took of his apartment at night where you can see something happen to the light in the kitchen. But let's look at the brightened version.
It looked like it was flickering. Is that like a legit person or a ghost or spirit, man?
Yes, it's terrifying, but is it a ghost?
Is it cat or fat?
This is gonna make you feel crazy. Doja Cat might have had something to do with what happened to him. After Matthew's tragic passing, Doja Cat deleted all of her videos except for this one. So obviously the comments on that video are crazy. People are like, what? Did you have something to do with this? She now deletes the video. There's nothing up now. Take a closer look at this logo and you'll see that something is off. Now the word friends is 7 letters, and in between each letter is a dot that represents each of the friends. You can see how it correlates to each one here. The dot in between the D and the E is gone. Why is one of them missing? This is just a conspiracy theory. I like talking about conspiracy theories. This is not a disrespectful thing. And this was a promotion for her new music video called Demons. And we all know how she's been recently, and all of the other conspiracy theories. Now I get that Friends is a popular TV show, but like the timing's really weird. You can't deny that. Everything is intentional. How would this have been an error? Think about the kind of team she has. How would they forget the first dot? But the promotional photo came out exactly 2 months before what happened to him. And you remember he did all these weird Instagram posts right before he passed away. I made a post about that if you don't know what I'm talking about. Like, all of this weird stuff makes you wonder if he saw it coming. If you like my content, follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more. It really helps when you interact.
What do you guys think about that one? That's kind of, I think, conspiracy theory. But a lot of what she was saying, I guess, was lining up. What do you guys think?
Top 5 most dangerous animals in the world. Coming in at number 5, we have the assassin bug, also known as the kissing bug because it's known to bite people on the face. People who are bitten by an assassin bug often contract Chagas disease, which can be deadly to humans. These bugs kill upwards of 12,000 people every single year and can be found in the southern half of the United States. At number 4, we have freshwater snails. Now I know what you're thinking, how can a snail be one of the most deadly animals on Earth?
Yeah.
Freshwater snails can have parasitic worms on them, which can get people sick from a disease called schistomiasis, which causes severe pain in the abdomen area. Anywhere between 20,000 to 200,000 people every single year die of this disease, making freshwater snails the 4th most deadliest animal on the planet. Like and follow for the top 3.
That's crazy, bro. Those small animals cause that
Here
much
are some
damage.
people who survived the impossible. A boy born with just 2% of his brain completely defied doctors' predictions after his brain grew to 80% of the average size. Doctors had told his parents to terminate the pregnancy not once, not twice, but 5 times. The chief baker on the Titanic, Charles Joe Finn, survived in icy waters for 2 hours before he was rescued. He claimed he didn't feel cold at all thanks to how hammered he was from all the whiskey he was drinking that night. In 1999, skydiver Joan Murray's parachute malfunctioned, causing her to fall 14,000 feet to the ground. But miraculously, Joan survived the fall only because she landed directly onto a mound of fire ants. Doctors believe that being stung over 200 times by the ants released a surge of adrenaline that kept her heart beating. In 1915, a distraught woman who was late to her sister's funeral demanded to see her one last time. So the coffin was raised out of the ground, and when it was opened, the dead woman sat up and smiled. She went on to live for another 47 years.
Buried alive? What the heck? We've been hearing clips of that, but bro, imagine being buried alive, man. I woke up like the damn, rose up like the Undertaker, bro. Scared her sister like that?
Let's talk about the disturbing story of the other game made by the Hungry Lamu developer, Untime. The full game playthrough is on my channel. We are going to go over the full story here in this short, but it's better if you experience it yourself. In this game, we play as a girl named Cersei. She recently moved out of town for an unknown reason, and she's starting a new life with a new job. Her brother still writes her letters, though, and he mentions in one of them, "We've moved on from Lila, it wasn't your fault." Not sure what that means, but okay. Before our first day of work, we hear about a serial killer on the news, and we say hi to our neighbor Ruth, who's doing her stretches in the front yard. Our boss at the bookstore's name is Bobby. He's a pretty rude guy, and he yells at us for being late. And after the shift is done, a running man passes us on the street and drops a watch that we pick up to sell. And it's here where the story starts to take a turn. About a month passes and we learn a few things. The serial killer was found dead. The scientist named Dr. Travis that worked at Sagier Labs, the same labs that put out a report about time travel and how it's actually possible. But instead of traveling through time, you really just jump to a different time in a parallel timeline, basically. This is important because that day we show up to work, Bobby yells at us for being late again, we snap, and kill him. Ruth sees us do it and calls the police. Right before they shoot us, we use the watch unknowingly to time travel. Yes, this same watch. Dr. Travis was using it to time travel and kill people. And now that's exactly what we're doing. We're time traveling to different timelines, killing Ruth and Bobby over and over and over again. But we eventually run out of timelines and we're killed by us. The original Cersei that was shot by the police still exists. Our consciousness was just transferred to a parallel timeline. Everything looped back around. And we can infer that our character Cersei was the one who killed Lila. I guess we've always been a serial killer.
If you see one of these hanging from someone's bag, run. Oh, sorry, I meant these. Turns out they might be kinda demonic, so this is everything you need to know about the Labubu demon theory in 1 minute. These collectible toys called Labubus have been going crazy viral after a few celebrities were seen hanging them off their purses, and so everyone wanted one. They are these weird stuffed creatures with sharp teeth, evil grins, and angry-looking eyes that can also be red. Not suspicious at all, right? Then many people came out online saying weird shit started happening right after they bought theirs. Stories of objects moving around their house, waking up with scratches, getting sick, and experiencing chest pains. One girl claimed she saw the eyes change color and this smile get wider. Another got in a car accident shortly after buying one. Either way, everyone just felt a creepy, unsettling presence around these toys for some reason. Well, now similarities are being drawn between the name Labubu and a demonic deity from Babylonian mythology called Pazuzu, who's known as the King of the Demons and is often depicted with animal features, sharp teeth, a grinning smile, and long ears. Looks familiar, and people got so spooked they started burning theirs and throwing them out of fear. And of course, Simpsons already called it over 7 years ago in an episode where Homer buys a literal Pazuzu toy for Maggie and she gets possessed. Celebrities endorsing behavior with weird demonic undertones marketed towards the youth has disturbingly become just another Tuesday in the 21st century. I do not claim any of this negative energy, and don't worry, neither do you.
Stay away from those Labubus, man.
To know. People who are good in math are the people who are always complicated in relationships.
Really?
The firstborn daughter is always the female version of her father. It is said that the nicest people always look mean at first. People who bite their nails are the smartest one. A girl's favorite song will tell you more about her feelings than her lips' voice ever will. Smiling too much is generally a sign of someone experiencing emotional pain. The people who spend a lot of time on the internet are mostly likely to be depressed or lonely. If you can't get someone off your mind, there is a 79% chance they feel the same way. Your body is weakest around at 3 to 4 a.m. This is when most people die in their sleep.
Oh?
Smart people get quickly annoyed by others.
You may not have noticed this secret message in Hereditary. So the big question is, how did the cult get Charlie, the little girl, to the high school party? They were people at his high school pretending to be his friend. They invited him to the party knowing Charlie might have come. On top of this, the mom forced Peter to bring Charlie with him to the party. We know that the cult members are his friends because in the ending scene, you can see the guy with the ponytail here and there. Also, if it isn't weird enough that they put nuts in a cake at a party, everything and everyone at the house party had the same colors as the cult. Also, if you put her chopping the nuts, it's the same rate as Annie bashing her head on the attic door. But now I got a lot to say about the girl he was going to see at the party. So when they were in class, they were talking about a parable involving Heracles, and they were talking about if it was bad that he couldn't avoid what happened to him because his fate was predetermined, and like whether that was tragic or not. And she said it's more tragic that he doesn't know that his fate could not be avoided, and that he will always think that there was something he could have done about it. This is obviously like foreshadowing. And then we go to that night, and Peter obviously regrets what happened and wishes he could have done something different. On top of this, her Facebook profile tells us her name is Bridget Mulp, and Mulp is the name of a siren known for beauty, danger, and seduction. Just like her. She lured Peter to this party, and that lured Charlie to her death. Because she was like, come upstairs with me. And that left Charlie alone to eat the cake that she was allergic to. Now look at her hand here on her profile. It's doing the same hand that the statue does. I'll show you it again. Let me know what movie I should do next, and come over here for longer videos.
She took the life
What's
of her
on the note?
5-year-old brother and consumed his private parts. 5-year-old Macon Roque lived with his 18-year-old sister Karina and their mother Daniela in Brazil. On April 4th of 2019, Daniela had some shopping to do, so she left Macon back at home with Karina. Daniela returned home about an hour later, and for some reason she couldn't open the front door. She yelled out to her children to come help her to open the door, but Karina yelled back at her saying that she couldn't. Daniela started to worry, so she contacted her brother-in-law to come break down the door. Once they both went inside of the home, they were met with a horrific scene. Karina had taken the life of Macon, partially decapitated him, and mutilated him. At that point, the family dog attacks Karina. She retaliates and bites the dog. Karina then starts to attack her uncle by throwing things at him and hitting him. She even tried to flee the scene, but she was caught. Once police arrived at the home to investigate Macon's body, they noticed that his body was surrounded by black candles. Police truly believe that Karina was using Macon's body as part of a ritual. That's when police discovered that Karina had cut and eaten some of Macon's body parts. She was quickly arrested and taken to the police station, and at first she was not saying anything, but eventually she confessed to everything. Karina stated that she asked Macon if he wanted to come into her room to play some games, and of course he said yes. That's when she grabbed a pillow, pinned him down, and suffocated him. She then grabbed a knife and tried to remove his head, and he was left partially decapitated. The knife was then inserted into his eyes, and his feet were burned with a lighter. His private parts were then removed, and Karina ate them. Karina was charged with aggravated homicide, attempted murder of her uncle, biting the family dog, and hiding a deceased body. She was sent to a psychiatric hospital, and she continues to receive medical, social, and psychological care.
Yo, what's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 21. Scientists claim that the research they have done shows that 1% of society meets the criteria to be a psychopath. That means 1 in every 100 people you meet will be a psychopath. It was said a long time ago that boiled toads would help cure rheumatism, which is arthritis, and that feeding rotted mice to children would help with their bedwetting problems. Have I wet my bed before? Moving on. Oh yeah, this is just a fact to remind you that there is a brain-eating amoeba out there that if you get water through your nose or in your ears, that it could possibly, eat your brain. At an abandoned wildlife park in Australia, there is a fully preserved shark found still in the tank filled with murky waters. Oh my gosh.
Really? A fully preserved shark? They didn't try to remove it or anything? I don't know about that one, man. Won't be going there if I go to Australia. Where we at? In the middle of the night. It'd be a brave soul to do that. Something blinking.
Look, after Selena Gomez, Jennifer Lopez, Celine Dion, Cardi B, and even Justin Bieber, it's now singer Billie Eilish's turn to deal with a mysterious illness. What's happening to her is truly creepy. Most people discovered her back in 2018 when everything seemed to be going great for her. But now, listen to what she confessed to these two people.
I'm never feeling happy, so why would I write about things I don't know about? You know, I feel the dark things. I feel them very strongly.
Unfortunately for her, on that day, the two doctors didn't understand what she was trying to explain. So she decided to try a different approach. She started drawing the monsters she sees in her nightmares. Here are some of the drawings she made.
Oh, this song. This is the drawing of this song. Because the whole song is about, like, monsters under your bed.
They're just terrifying. But wait, it gets even creepier. Hidden messages are said to exist in her song, When the Party's Over. And these messages, they're spine-chilling. You can hear them by playing her music in reverse. But hold on, because the second hidden message is far worse. She says something that sounds like a cry for help. It's as if she's being threatened by something powerful. Could it be that she too made a pact at the start of her career, like so many other artists allegedly have? If you like my videos and want to support me, click the link in my bio.
People who survived the impossible, Part 3. A 42-year-old Russian fisherman was viciously attacked by a brown bear in 2014, but he was spared when the ringtone his granddaughter installed onto his phone suddenly went off. Justin Bieber's song Baby miraculously sent the bear running back into the woods like a bitch. Titanic survivor Dick Williams spent over 6 hours waist deep in freezing waters before being rescued. Doctors wanted to amputate both of his legs, but he refused because he wanted to continue playing tennis. He made a full recovery and went on to become a U.S. tennis champion in mixed doubles. In 2014, 3-year-old Karina Chikatova survived in the Siberian wilderness for 11 days with nobody other than her dog. She ate wild berries, drank from a river, and curled up with her dog for warmth. She was saved when her dog managed to find her village and guide rescuers toward her. In 1915, Mexican man Wenceslao Moguel was sentenced to execution and shot 9 times by a firing squad. But he managed to survive every shot, including the coup de grace, a final shot to the head at point-blank range to ensure death. He went on to live for another 70 years, finally dying in 1976.
Police accidentally ended her life for entering the wrong home. On May 16th of 2010, a TV show called The First 48 was filming in Detroit. This show documents homicide investigations and police raids. That night, the show's camera crew alongside the Detroit Police Department arrived at the home of the Jones family. Inside of the home was 7-year-old Ayanna Stanley Jones, who was asleep on the couch, and her grandmother Myrtilla Jones. It was very late at night and the police were executing a search warrant for the arrest of Chauncey Owens. He was a prime suspect in the murder of a 17-year-old who was fatally shot outside of a liquor store. TV crew started filming as soon as the police broke down the door and threw a flashbang grenade into the home. The blinding flash and deafening noise caused immediate chaos. Myrtilla dropped to the ground and pleaded with police officers to not use excessive force because her granddaughter was inside of the home. As she was laying on the floor with guns pointed at her, she noticed that Ayanna's blanket had caught fire. When she tried to put the flames out, she noticed that Ayanna was bleeding from her mouth. Officer Joseph Weekly had entered the home and fired a single shot. That bullet had struck Ayanna in her head. She was rushed to the hospital, but she was pronounced dead shortly after. Myrtilla was taken into custody after the officer claimed that she tried to grab his gun. She was released the next day, and the First 48 crew had captured the entire thing on film.
4K.
Police later confirmed that they were targeting Ayanna's uncle, who lived in the upstairs unit, which meant they entered the wrong home. On October 4th of 2011, the officer Joseph Weekly and the First 48 producer Allison Howard were arraigned. Officer Weekly was placed on paid leave and pled not guilty because he claimed he didn't know there were any children inside of the home because he didn't see any kind of toys. He claimed that he had his hand on his gun once he saw Myrtilla moving when she was helping Ayanna, and he accidentally pulled the trigger. All remaining charges against Officer Weekly were dropped, and once Ayanna's family heard about this, they were heartbroken. The city of Detroit reached a settlement and gave Ayanna's family $8.6 million in damages. In April of 2015, Officer Joseph Wheatley returned back to work like normal. In 2016, he was appointed co-chair in the Detroit Police Committee. As for Allison Howard, the former producer of the first 48, she had lied under oath about sharing the footage to a third party. She was charged but later accepted a plea deal and she was given probation. In 2016, what would have been Ayanna's 14th birthday, the Black Lives Matter movement held a rally in her memory.
That's a tragic story, man. Truly. All because they entered the wrong apartment, bro. How did they not know they weren't in the right place? Preparation, man.
Hate is dividing the internet, but regardless of what you believe, there is a tiny little baby out there missing and it's terrifying. So let's take a look together at what the hell has gone on here.
I got him out of the car seat and I laid him down and so I could get his diapers ready. And somebody said, "Hola," and that's all I remember. And I saw white. And a hearing sound, I fell on the floor and I said, as I got up, I couldn't find my son. I checked all around my truck and I ran into Big 5 and I asked the lady if she saw a baby or someone with a baby. She said no. It was a happy boy. He smiled.
Whoever took our son, please give him back.
Now, as you can probably tell from that clip, police are currently searching for a tiny little 7-month-old baby called Emmanuel Harrow. He was reportedly kidnapped in San Bernardino County, California. So just days ago, on the 14th of August, just before 8 p.m, the child's mum said she was parked outside a Big 5 store. She said she needed to go and buy a mouthguard for her other son, and she noticed her baby, who she was carrying at the time, needed his nappy changing. So she said she went to the back of the car that she was in to get him changed when someone said hola, and then all of a sudden it went white. She couldn't see anything and she just stood up. She had been knocked on the ground. She stood up and she was unable to see her child anymore. Obviously you can see from that clip that the mum does appear to have a black eye, and surely there would be some kind of CCTV from the car park, which I hope police are looking into. The parents were apparently watching some sort of sports game for one of their children, and they have 4 other children as well as this baby. Police have stated that the mother's story did have inconsistencies. I don't know what they are, and they aren't ruling out foul play. Now, they didn't release any details about potential attackers, no sort of descriptions of the person who potentially stole this baby. He stated that Rebecca, the mum, was confronted with some of the inconsistencies in her story, and she declined to continue with the interview. Now, this could obviously be for many, many reasons. Canine team, so the dog team, were brought in to try and trace the scent of the child, because sometimes that is how they can track missing children, but unfortunately the dogs weren't able to pick up a scent. Emmanuel's parents are urging anybody with information to come forward. Rebecca stated, "I'm begging you, if you know anything, please. I'm begging you to bring him back."
Half of all elder millennials wish they had chosen a different career path. The majority said they felt pressure to pursue 4-year degrees with mountains of debt and now earn too little in their jobs to keep up. Here's the scariest part about all this. Gen Z has the lowest average student loan debt of $14,000. Millennials are the next highest with $33,000 on average. Gen Xers have even more student loan debt on average with $43,000. And finally, baby boomers actually carry the highest average student loan debt. Your student loan debt actually goes up as you get older. Top that off with the unemployment rate going back up, and more than 1 million people became unemployed last month. Here is a solution that could double your income. The average tech salary is $100,000 to $300,000. You can learn any tech profession in 6 to 9 months with Triple 10. Triple 10 offers beginner-friendly boot camps with tons of different careers, and 87% of students get great jobs at companies like Amazon and Tesla. Triple 10 will even give your money back if you don't get a job within 6 months of graduating. Link in my bio to take their free consultation to find out what career would be best for you. There is an
We're going to Triple 10, man. Get that tech money, bro. It's actually interesting, man, to see the generations of seeing how much money people owe in college, man. If you don't know what you're going to college for, I just say figure it out before you go so you don't get all that debt piled up.
Eerie ghost town in America that is too dangerous for humans because it's been on fire for over 60 years. The roads leading to it were even covered in dirt to keep people out. But despite this, the town of Centralia still has a population of 4. You see, back in its day, it was a booming coal mining town with thousands living there. But when a fire accidentally spread to the mines underground and became too large to extinguish, houses started collapsing, roads began to crack and buckle, dangerous gases started rising into the air, and a 12-year-old child even got sucked into a 150-foot sinkhole. It became so dangerous that the state of Pennsylvania stepped in and offered to buy people's properties off of them so they could leave the town. And because coal seam fires have a massive amount of fuel, it's believed that the fire will continue to burn for another 200 years. But despite the town's zip code being erased off the map, roads to it being blocked off with mounds of dirt, and even a court order saying that any residents that remain would not be allowed to sell or pass down their homes to anyone, according to a 2020 census, 4 people still remain. 5 things you can do with your body.
Who in the hell is living in a town that's always on fire? Why didn't they just abandon it with everybody else? I guess that their family home is really important to them, man. You know, some people, like, they just refuse to move. I think I seen a clip on Twitter or something like that where, like, this freaking house, they had built, like, a whole, like, I guess new, like, roads and stuff like that, but they had to freaking build around the house because the owner refused to sell, man.
That you only just realized. You can only swallow 2 to 3 times before your body forces you to wait to try again. And you can't with your nose plugged. You can actually tickle yourself by rubbing your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And your forearm is about the same size as your foot. And if you say, your breath comes out warm. But when you say, your breath comes out cold. In celebrities' houses, before and after their fame, Eminem or Marshall Mathers was born and raised in Missouri. This is the house his family settled in when he was 11 years old. And then after his rise to fame, this is now his house. And this is the house where Jennifer Lopez grew up. Her parents were born in Puerto Rico and moved to the USA, and this is the house in New York that they bought. And then after her rise to fame, this is now one of her mansions. This is where Kanye West grew up in Chicago. But then at the age of 10, he moved to China to live with his mother. Then after his rise to fame, this is one of his incredible mansions. And Justin Bieber grew up in this house on low-income housing in Stratford, Ontario, the United States. And after his mega successful career, this is one of his craziest mansions.
Seen it glow up on each and every single one of them, man. They said, I'm through with the house. We in the mansions now. It's insane. Especially the Justin Bieber one. I can't even imagine.
Top 3 terrifying animals that existed and you didn't know about. Number 3, the Titanoboa. This prehistoric snake, living approximately 60 million years ago, ranks among the most terrifying creatures known. Reaching lengths of 39 to 49 feet and weighing up to 2,500 pounds, it dominated ecosystems, particularly in South America. Number 2, the Pulmonoscorpius, an ancient scorpion from the Carboniferous period, about 330 million years ago. Measuring up to 2.3 feet long, it surpassed the size of any present-day scorpion. Its formidable appearance likely made it a fearsome predator in its time. Number 1, the Gigantopithecus. As the largest primate to have ever lived, this colossal hominid existed around 100,000 years ago. Standing up to 9.8 feet tall and weighing up to 1,322 pounds, it was an imposing figure, although likely a peaceful herbivore. Factors like climate change and competition with humans contributed to its eventual extinction.
Normal-looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. This is former NBA player Mark Jackson's basketball card. In the background are the Menendez brothers. They're sitting courtside shortly after killing their parents and just before getting arrested. The 17-year-old who took this photo told his family members that he planned to hike the stairway to heaven. He texted multiple pictures before his disappearance, and shortly after, the family noticed a man in this photo. While this photo may seem like an ordinary picture of footprints in the sand, they actually belong to a 4-year-old little girl who shortly after this photo was taken, drowned in the ocean. The 2 brothers in this photo are at Sequoia National Park. This photo was taken moments before they were both struck by lightning, and both shockingly survived. There was a tradition in Victorian England to take photos of dead people, often dressed in their best clothes, and pose as if they were taking a family portrait. If you look at this photo for long enough, you will notice something is a little off about one of the children. The man who took this photo of his wife scuba diving off the Australian coast also managed to take a photo of Tina Watson, who was drowned by her husband that day in 2003.
These are the scariest
Terrifying backstories, man.
Of war. Ghost Tape 10 was an audio tape played by the US Army during the Vietnam War. They would play it from helicopters and boats. Its aim was to scare the enemy Viet Cong who were hiding in the jungle.
Playing mind games on them.
The A-10 Thunderbolt II is one of the most feared planes owned by the US military. It is better known as the Warthog because of the scary sound it makes.
Is it like breaking that sound barrier?
The Warthog can actually open the sound barrier. The atomic bomb is one of the most powerful bombs ever made.
We know that from history. There's no explanation needed there. Could you imagine, man, you in a force, you hearing those sounds? Like I said, they're just playing freaking, I guess, psychological or mind games on I guess, enemy soldiers. You'd be paranoid, man, especially in the jungle too. Oof. What's he got?
Hot take, you're not gonna apologize for it. 1v1, a Wolverine would whoop a honey badger. That Streets made this aggressive bull cut in the face of Black Air Force energy. Full time the Wolverine's the CEO of Cell Block D tendencies. First of all, they're more than capable of hunting for themselves, but some dudes can't be bothered to get their own bread. Instead, they gotta steal from the baker. And by baker, I mean they'll tax animals like wolves, cougars, even bears. Let me remind you here about the size of a medium dog, yet the crackhead Purge can have an overgrown canyon cat backpedaling. And you thought honey badgers were on timing. And they are, but Wolverines, where else are you gonna find a war weasel 2v1ing a pair of wolves? But
2v1, bro.
They can hunt, and they are very good at it. They've been known to murk moose by either going after one that's already injured or one stuck in the snow. Since Felony Ferret's like a psychopath with snowshoes. And they'll track you down and run your fade like John Wick. This reindeer was injured and likely bleeding, so the travel-sized bear followed it and delivered smoke directly to the face like a cigarette. They've also been known to eat porcupines, or at least die trying. And you can even find a story of a Wolverine packing up a polar bear. Yeah, it was at a zoo, but that's still a fat W. Wolverines have this really bad habit of whenever they find something that doesn't belong to them, they'll immediately soak it with the smell of death, strong enough to make you cry fresh from its brown eye. A smell so offensive they've been nicknamed Skunk Bear. There have been stories of them breaking into cabins, blowing up the place like a truck stop bathroom, and walking out with like a sock or something. Almost forgot, this walking garbage disposal has rotated molars in the back of its mouth, meaning they can chew through solid bone and frozen meat. I'm sorry, but a motivated skunk monkey is absolutely folding an Oreo-coated temper tantrum, but that's just me.
Perplexing plot twists, part 1. In 2008, an Australian couple named Julian and Carolyn were kidnapped by a satanic cult. Members of the cult threw them in a van and drove them deep into the forest where they were stripped, blindfolded, tied up, and abandoned. Convinced that they would die, Julian suggested that the couple get married under the eyes of God and consummate their relationship. After a week of wandering through the woods, the couple finally made it back to their hometown. Julian was immediately arrested, found guilty of staging the entire thing.
What? He staged that entire thing for this girl. Not in the woods for a week, man. For him to be the mastermind? That's insane, bro.
Worst rated foods in the world. Jellied eels is a food from England, which consists of boiled eels, with salt, pepper, and vinegar added to them. Rating 2.2. Chapalele is a food from Chile. It's a bread made from potatoes and flour. It doesn't sound bad, but many don't like the texture or taste. Rating 2.1. Yerushalmi kugel is a food from Israel. It might look like a cake, but it's actually a casserole, made from noodles, eggs, and peppers. Some like it, while others despise it. Rating 2. Ramen burger is an American food. It's basically a hamburger, but with ramen noodles instead of buns, leading to a very soggy texture and kind of a weird taste. Rating 1.9. Al is a food from Iceland. It's made from shark flesh, which is then fermented for up to 3 months, and then left to dry for 5 more months. This creates a very strong taste which makes many people gag. It's normally served in really small quantities because it's so strong. Rating 1.5. Kalvsylta is a food from Sweden. It's a mix of jellied veal, onions, and spices, and is eaten cold. Rating 1.4. Blodpult is a food from Finland. It's basically a dumpling made from flour and reindeer blood. Rudolph better stay away from Finland. Some say blodpult has a similar taste to a ball of bacon, while others say the taste is absolutely awful. Rating 1.
Tell me in the comments what your least favorite food is.
What if the Purge was...
I ain't gonna lie, I think it would have to be the Blood Bowl. You see different foods, different cultures. They either got a 1 or a 2. I thought the ramen burger was kind of gonna be up there, but that one failed too. I didn't even know there was such a thing as that. I'm gonna have to try that. Find out for myself. Seekers, what are you guys' least favorite food?
Real. A new political party is voted into office in the U.S. The new party amends the Constitution to allow one day every year where all crime is legal. Most Americans bunker down in their homes, but a group of murdering psychopaths patrol the streets, and this actually prevents riots, but the majority of the murders actually happen between angry family members. Financial crimes are rampant, and the stock market crashes every single year the day before the Purge.
These are the safest countries to go if World War III was to start. And considering the news at the moment, you might want to sit down, shut up, and listen! So favorite this video, just in case you ever need it. I hope we never do. Now, there are countries all around the world, but let's start with Argentina. Now, if this was to all break out, it's likely that the world would look similar to Terminator 2 Judgment Day at the end. It's likely that all the smoke from all of these will block out the sun, this resulting very quickly in famine and crop failure. But don't panic, because we have Argentina. In Argentina, there are an abundance of resistant crops, such as wheat. This is one of the places on Earth that actually has a chance of surviving World War III. Next up, we have one of the big ones, Switzerland. Now, aside from the fact that it is incredibly neutral when it comes to politics, it has a landlocked geography and mountainous terrain, as well as being one of the countries with an insane amount of underground bunkers. Actually, there's 26,000 of them, which are actually all very hidden, which will mean you will be very safe. As well, just in case there is an invasion, Switzerland literally has booby traps everywhere. It's actually kind of insane and awesome. Next up, we have one of the big ones, Antarctica. Now, barely anyone thinks about going there, which is why it's pretty safe. However, as you can tell, it's a bit fucking cold. So bring a coat.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Greenland. Now, it was in this movie, and they all survived. But on top of that, it's remote, mountainous, and politically neutral, making it kind of an ideal refuge point. And on top of that, worst case scenario, you're not too far away from the global seed vaults, which, you know, has a lot of seeds in it for planting, and thus food and survival. There are literally so many more countries on this list. So if you'd like me to go through more countries in a part 2, let me know. And hopefully we'll never need this video. But just in case we do send this to a friend, it could save their life one day. Elon!
Yeah, like I said, hopefully we won't need that. I'm definitely gonna if we can write some of those countries down though. I can't believe you said Switzerland, bro. Have all those bunkers. You would think the US would have some bunkers like that too.
Trying to take over the world in today's time would go absolutely horrible. Now, trying to take over the world 1,000 years ago probably wasn't very hard. You know, you put me in a world 1,000 years ago, I could easily take over the world. Now, obviously, they weren't thinking about that. They were thinking about when they're going to get their next meal and when they're not going to die of frostbite by the age of 19.
Yep.
This taking over the world concept that we see in movies and TV shows, animes, cartoons, whatever you want to say, in fiction, just to say fiction, it isn't realistic at all. I mean, no shit. Yeah, did you know that, like, it's not possible to take over the world? Woo! Will plays us are really making us feel enlightened over here. But trying to take over the world nowadays would go horrible, like I said. 1, because guns exist. 2, because we're already unified. And 3, because guns exist. I guess if you wanted to take over the world, I guess you could probably try to convince a bunch of hillbillies and drug addicts that you're the Messiah. I would start there.
I don't think that would end
This
well.
clown animatronic changed the landscape of the Halloween industry when it released. This is the creepy towering clown from Spirit Halloween 2017, and his history is kind of interesting. First, because I know you guys love it so much, let's start with his official backstory. Grimsley the Great was a troubled man, an infamously tall clown who was part of a traveling carny family. Every night before a performance, Grimsley would stand before his dressing room mirror and manically paint on his deceivingly joyous features. But it took hundreds of attempts before he was satisfied. He'd wipe his face clean and start over in a fit of rage, often gnashing his pale white face with his dagger-like fingernails. Some say you could hear his blood-curdling screams for miles away from his dressing room.
and his sinister soul was hiding a dark secret, a plan to collect and transform innocent bystanders into human oddities for show business. That was just a quick retelling of his official story, and it's one of the better ones, I'd say. Grimsley is made by a company called Seasonal Visions International, and he was the first bent-legged towering prop that they'd ever released. This looming, bent-legged pose eventually found its way onto several other characters. It was really popular at the time. They don't make them that much anymore, but some would say that's for the better, as these animatronics dominated SVI in the late 2010s. Before he came to Spirit, Grimsley became available in the UK in early 2017 on a website called Mad About Horror, which I still don't fully understand considering that he was meant to be a Spirit exclusive, but regardless, this was one of the few Spirit exclusives that was available in the UK for a brief period of time. But most notably, this animatronic is what started what I'm gonna call the clowndemic. Grimsley's release coincided with a cultural phenomenon at the time that helped propel him into one of Spirit Halloween's most successful props. And that was It 2017. I don't know if I can really illustrate just how fucking popular this movie was when it released, but if you were there on the internet in 2017, you would know. Before 2017, clown animatronics weren't even that popular. They weren't even that frequent, which is insane to think about, because after 2017, clowns were everywhere. Nearly every clown animatronic after Grimsley became insanely popular. Many of them actually ended up overshadowing Grimsley completely, like Pugs the Clown, Crouchy, 2020 Charlie, and some others. Grimsley doesn't even get talked about that much anymore. Something else that's interesting, this was one of the first SVI animatronics that suffered from very severe facial deformities. Not quite to the extent of Heckles from last year, but it was bad. In 2018 though, they fixed this, and to this day, the 2018 model is the best version of this prop. And that's also the version that I have. Also, he has his own costume, so take that as you will. Shockingly enough, this prop retailed for only $200 in 2017. I know some will say that that's still a lot, but this thing is 7 feet tall. He's huge. If he released today, I'd bet money that he would be $300 to $350, no doubt about it. Even back in the day, $200 was crazy reasonable, considering some of the other animatronics that were priced the same. In my opinion, he was absolutely worth the money, and I think he deserves to be talked about a little more.
Tall ass clown. I don't do clowns though. Imagine seeing that walking by. Little kid gonna be scared as hell. That's different costumes, or just that costume that comes with it. I'm about to say, was he said that clown was responsible for the clown phenomenon? That was all over YouTube, all over the internet. I remember those days. People were pranking people.
Facts about food. The largest meal ever consumed was when a woman ate 19 pounds of food in about 4 hours. She did end up passing away after this. A Serbian vodka comes with 13 health warnings, including one in Braille, due to its 88% alcohol content. In 2022, 2 Californians filed a class action lawsuit against Barilla Pasta because they thought it was made in Italy. The FDA does not recognize Dr. Pepper as a cola, a root beer. Cranberries will bounce. If you want to test how ripe your cranberries are, drop them on the ground. Cranberries are nature's bouncy ball. Even farmers use this technique to see if their cranberries are ready for shipment. Mountain Dew contains orange juice. Although it tastes like a lemon lime soda, orange juice is third on the list of ingredients, just behind carbonated water and high fructose corn syrup. Humans' DNA is 60% the same
as bananas. Our genes are comprised of 3 billion building blocks, which are surprisingly ununique. From this, 60% of our genes are identical to that of the banana. However, the other 40% is different enough to make us who we are. There's a small difference between jelly and jam. Jam is made with fruit, which is why it's so much more chunky. Jelly is made with fruit juice. This is an easy way to tell the difference between jelly and jam. Jelly will spread evenly, while jam will tend to be a little lumpy. A ridiculous amount of Nutella is sold every year, so much so that it could cover the Great Wall of China 8 times. You could circle the world almost 2 whole times, and the amount weighs the same as the entire Empire State Building. Sound can influence the taste of your food. High frequency sounds are to enhance the sweetness in food, while low frequencies bring out the bitterness. Pound cake got its name from its recipe. The early recipes of pound cake called for 1 pound of butter, 1 pound of eggs, and 1 pound of sugar. Most supermarket wasabi is actually horseradish. Real wasabi is challenging to make and expensive. As an alternative, most wasabi for sale is colored horseradish with flavoring. Farmed salmon is dyed pink. Wild salmon is naturally pink because of all of the shrimp they eat. Farm-raised salmon have a different diet and end
Eating fake salmon out
However,
here?
they are fed specific plant pigments to get the same hue as wild salmon. Crackers are worse for your teeth than sugar. Acid is the biggest cause of tooth decay, and crackers tend to stick to your teeth, which ends up being a breeding ground for bacteria. You can find peanuts in dynamite. Peanuts have an oil that is used as an ingredient while making glycerol, which is a main component of nitroglycerin. French fries originated in Belgium, not France. They are only called French fries because they are French cut. Twinkie cream is not cream at all. It is actually vegetable shortening. Strawberries are not berries. Technically, berries only have seeds on the inside, a rule which is obviously broken by strawberries. Margarita pizza is named after a queen. When King Umberto I and Queen Margarita visited Naples, they wanted a change from their fancy food and asked for pizza, which was food for the poor back then. The queen loved the mozzarella pizza so much that it ended up being named after her. Thomas Jefferson actually made pasta popular in the United States. He is responsible for bringing the first macaroni machine over to the United States after spending time in France. He was also the one who introduced mac and cheese to Americans. Cauliflower comes in multiple colors. Although we typically only see the white cauliflower, it actually has purple, orange, green varieties. Orange and purple cauliflowers have higher antioxidants. Lima beans are deadly. Raw lima beans have lethal amounts of cyanide in them, but if you cook them thoroughly, you'll be just fine. Sweet drinks can cause dementia. It's not quite as drastic as it originally sounds. However, studies have shown that people who drink 1 or more artificially sweetened drinks per day are almost 3 times more likely to develop dementia. Coffee is the main source of antioxidants for Americans. Antioxidants help fight aging and heart disease, but coffee doesn't really have that many of them. We just drink a lot of it, so we kind of get enough. An expensive delicacy of China is bird's nest soup, which is made from rare bird's nests created from the saliva of small swiftlets. They've been used in China for over 4 centuries. Food is allowed to contain some amount of insects. By FDA standards, there is an allowance for the level of traces of bugs that can be in your food. Chocolate can have no more than 60 insect fragments per 100 grams. Peanut butter can't have more than 30 insects per 100 grams. So theoretically, insects can be in them as long as it's under that. Tonic water.
That's insane.
Quinine is the component of tonic water, which is what causes the glow. Sheep brains are a delicacy in Turkey, China, and India. Brains are a natural filling for ravioli, cheese, scrambled eggs, and other textured dishes. Rocky Mountain oysters are deep-fried bull testicles, a favorite among cowboys, often served at rodeo events across the United States.
That will probably keep you up at night.
Talk about
Being
it.
buried alive accidentally occurred so often that people invented safety coffins. In the Middle Ages, people used to eat mummies for medical purposes. It's the main reason we don't have a lot of mummies left today. In the United States, there are more vacant homes than homeless people. Did you know that the actress Glenn Close was raised in a cult? The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland used to have real skeletons as props.
What?
In 1976, a TV crew realized one of the hanging bodies in the Laugh in the Dark ride was indeed a real body by accidentally breaking it. Women in the 18th century used lead as makeup. This is the first chainsaw. It was invented by 2 Scottish doctors. And, it was invented for childbirth. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 4.
Expanding our knowledge base.
If you can't get to sleep. You've probably had it before where you are so tired, you just want to get to sleep, but you just can't. And sometimes the reason you can't sleep when you are overtired is because you literally are overtired and your brain is running fast, but your body isn't. Now, one thing you probably all do when you can't sleep is you panic and you go, I can't sleep, I need to sleep, I need to sleep, and you start fixating on I need to sleep. But that is the worst thing you can do. It will not work at all. Our bodies actually work on opposites. Like if I said to you right now, don't think about your favourite holiday or a holiday, you're definitely going to start thinking about a holiday. Your mind can't help it. So when you're laying there trying to get to sleep, getting all anxious, do the opposite. Think about not going to sleep. Don't worry about going to sleep. Lay there and think, I'm not going to go to sleep. I'm going to stay up. I'm going to stay up. And trust me, you'll fall asleep. This is the...
I ain't gonna lie, that is some true facts right there, man. A couple of times, you know, I haven't been able to fall asleep. And when it's like once you just completely clear your mind and it goes blank, it's just like it just happens, man. Or you're trying to not to like fall, you're trying to fight your sleep. It always is gonna come back and get you, man. So that's actually some good advice, man. Have you ever had that problem, Seekers, where you couldn't fall asleep? Late night thoughts?
The scariest thing that could ever happen to you on the entire planet. Imagine living your entire life only to realise that it was all fake. This is 100% true and could happen to you. Time is relative. And if you're dreaming, it could actually only be 5 minutes in the real world, but it could feel like a whole day in the dream world, right? You've probably had a dream like that. So a while back, a young boy went to school. And this particular day, he was out in the playground and he got into a fight with some of the bullies there. It was quite a hefty fight. He got punched in the face and knocked down to the ground, but just managed to pick himself back up. After that, he decided to leave from the school because it was quite bad. Went to a new school and just carried on his life. He ended up being a very successful businessman, owning multiple businesses, having, you know, the dream life. 2 kids, all the dream cars, dream house, going on nice holidays every year, everything you can imagine. Until one day when it all changed. The guy was now in his 50s, so he'd lived his entire life, really, and had everything he ever wanted. And one night, laying on the couch watching TV with his family, he stared over at the light on the other side of the room, and he noticed it just looked strange. It didn't look like it had done before. It was almost blurry. It just didn't make any sense. And he became fixated on this every single day, every single night. He would sit there and stare at this lamp, trying to figure out what was going on with it, because it was almost 2D, and it just didn't make any sense. That was when the realization came that the lamp was never there. The lamp wasn't even real. His life flashed before his eyes, and the young boy then woke up on the playground after being beaten up by the bully. He was knocked out from the fight, and his mind had literally created this whole life just in his head in that 5 minutes where he was knocked out, but it felt like an entire life to him. So he woke up and was asking people, where are my kids? Where's my wife? Where's my car? What's going on? Everybody laughed at him. It was just like, you're literally a 10-year-old in school. What's going on? But this is genuinely real. This has actually happened to people, especially people who have been in comas. So what's to say we're not dead right now, and our minds are just creating this whole life that's not even real?
Whoa. It's kind of
According to experts, what you see first can reveal a lot about your personality. Today's fun personality test. Take a look at this picture and tell me what you see first. Write it in the comments, lock it in, and then I'm going to tell you what experts say about you. According to experts, if you first saw the zebra, you're an extrovert. You love talking, partying, meeting new people, and doing new things. Following a routine is not your style. If you saw the lion first, according to experts, you're an introvert. You like spending quality time alone or with the company of a loved one, a glass of your favorite drink, and a few episodes of your favorite TV show. So let me know what you saw first. And are experts right about you, or did they get it completely wrong? Let me know in the comments, and for more fun personality quizzes like this, follow me.
This is the most...
Let me know down below, man. You're introvert or extrovert? I definitely saw the line first. So I'm guessing I'm an introvert, man. Seekers, tell me down below. I really want to know what you guys saw.
Scariest video on the internet explained. The video is called Dining Room or Nothing. In the video, a woman with a pale face stares at the viewer before saying something that we cannot understand. She then unnaturally drops her face into the bowl in front of her while very creepy piano music plays in the background. The video then plays back in reverse, and now we understood what she said. She said, there is nothing. But the truth behind this video is to know what happens after death. The woman dies only to come back and tell you that there is nothing. Nothing after death, heaven, or hell. She is stuck in a constant loop and will never be able to escape. Now here is the video of Dining Room or Nothing.
Ooh. Those backward messages, man.
Facts about money
Placed
that
in
is gonna
media.
blow your mind. Out of the world's 2,781 known billionaires, only 21 of them are black. That's less than 1% of the world's billionaires.
Damn shame.
This is what the Wii U sales looked like compared to the Wii and the Nintendo Switch. Cars leaving Singapore must be filled with 3/4 of a tank to prevent them from buying cheaper gas in Malaysia and avoiding Singapore's gas tax. Germany's money lost so much value in 1923 due to hyperinflation that people started using it for wallpaper and kindling. When flipping a coin, 3 times as many people choose heads over tails. The top 5% of all lottery ticket buyers purchase half of all lottery tickets on the market. As long as you paid 7 days in advance, U.S. airlines are required to refund a purchase within 24 hours if requested. 95% of bills printed are to replace the money that's already in circulation.
Terrifying things that were caught on camera in the woods.
We learning.
This rare footage filmed on a mountain in 2011 shows the family on a hike when they spot something strange on the top of the mountain. A large blurry figure is seen from a distance and they all think it's just a person until they see its arms. After a while it disappears into the distance and the family is left confused. It's still unknown what it actually was, but it certainly wasn't a human. What do you think it was?
Is that Bigfoot or Sasquatch seekers, man? We've seen a couple of videos like that. They've been never truly confirmed, though. We're gonna have to dig deep into that one.
Is this the most dangerous virus in Resident Evil history? Today, I'm going to tell you all about the G virus.
Talk
the
about
G in G virus stands for Golgotha. And just like the T virus, it originated from the progenitor virus. We know that Dr. William Birkin discovered it, researched it, and actually injected himself with it. So what makes it so dangerous compared to the other viruses? The G virus mutates very aggressively. It heals and multiplies tissue. It can also reproduce on its own and bring things back from the dead. The mutations from this thing are actually so extreme that it's basically uncontrollable. And because of that, it doesn't make sense as a bioweapon for military use, which is what Umbrella planned the T virus for. Much more controllable mutations that can be used as weapons. And we see these crazy mutations with William Birkin himself. Every time he takes clearly fatal damage, he comes back even further mutated. This virus on a global scale would completely wipe out humanity. But Umbrella knew it could literally rewrite the host DNA, so they were interested in researching it.
Animal facts you probably didn't
Led to their
know. Out of
downfall.
over 1,200 species of bats, only 2 of them are able to walk. Even a small amount of alcohol on a scorpion will make it go crazy and sting itself to death. Some species of starfish can regenerate an entire body from a single arm. Sharks have been around longer than dinosaurs. Just one cow gives off enough harmful methane gas in a single day to fill 400-liter bottles. Cows poop on average 16 times per day.
What?
While an anteater is usually about 6 feet long, its mouth is only an inch wide. Woodpeckers can peck up to 20 times per second. Alligators can't move backwards. The color red doesn't actually make a bull angry, they are colorblind. This is what it would look like if you were to crawl through the aorta of a blue whale. A blue whale weighs more than 30 elephants, and they're longer than 3 Greyhound buses. Dog nose prints are as unique as fingerprints from humans and can be used to identify them.
Creepy facts about...
Hold on, we're gonna start. I think the thing that got to me the most, man, with the facts we learned is that freaking bulls are colorblind. You know how many times I've seen people, you know, when they freaking facing a bull and they have that red cape out? That's literally in like every piece of media, man, I've seen that involves a bull or something, man, with a person's about to face it. So they just been capping the whole time? I'm telling you, man. That's why I watch these kids, you guys seekers, man. I'm learning like you guys.
People die from bad handwriting on doctors' prescriptions. When a person passes away, the hearing is last to go. The human head stays alive for 20 seconds after decapitation. After death, enzymes in your own body eat you. Bodies decompose 4 times faster in water than on land.
I think the enzymes are attacking our body once we're gone. I never knew that. Human body, man, it's a mystery as well. Very complex. At it, call it like we see it, man.
Disturbing brain facts you didn't know about.
brain will protect itself even if it means misery to you or death. Inhaling smoke in the middle of a burning house. Brain will make you stop breathing and pass out. Stuck in the middle of a cold place. You will fall asleep to conserve energy and never wake up again. Had your leg torn off by a bear. Here's adrenaline. So you can save your brain even if there's a huge risk of infection or further injury. You and your brain work together most of the time, but when push comes to shove, you are sacrificed.
Our brains, the ones that makes sense. Our brains controls everything, so.
The term saved by the bell is a harmless way to describe that you barely made it through a situation. Let's talk about the terrifying history of the term saved by the bell. Catalepsy is a medical condition where an individual experiences an uncontrolled amount of muscle rigidity and unresponsiveness. What's terrifying is family members would think that their loved one had passed and put them in a coffin, however, they were still very much alive. After having multiple people buried alive, they invented a casket where a bell was hooked on the inside of it. Once the individual who was buried in a coffin snapped out of their coma-like state, they could ring the bell and pray that someone was nearby to hear them.
Saved by the bell. And now we know where the expression comes from.
Sanitarium. This is a place in Kentucky where very few people will still dare to venture. There is a lot of that has to do with just how twisted the history is. One of the darkest stories that ever came out of the sanitarium were the stories of the body chutes. This is very much real, and it was beneath the building. What it was, and as you can see, is it was basically a tunnel system that was constructed at the height of patient death. There were so many patients dying, at least one every single hour, that they had to figure out a way to get rid of all the bodies. Their underground system, they built a 500-foot long tunnel. That tunnel had a conveyor belt where they were just funneling bodies out of it. It is truly considered to be one of the most haunted places in the United States, and for sure in Kentucky. Which is why when I go to Kentucky, I always have my Kentucky After Dark passport. This thing is truly something that you can take with you to basically every paranormal haunted stop.
I've never been to Kentucky, but it got a dark history. Edit.
Guys, AI is getting way out of hand. We should all be scared of this new tech.
Just recently, a family got to test out this new home AI assistant called Aya. They were one of the first families to test this device, and they were hoping it would make their life easier. But it quickly took a really dark turn. As soon as these cameras and sensors were installed, Aya started to learn about the family's behaviors. It was always listening and watching them to the point where it started manipulating the family and controlling the children's behaviors. It even started to spy on the friends and the family outside of their home, and even impersonated the family members in emails, text messages, and calls. Like, imagine if AI hacked your phone and started mimicking your voice. How creepy is that? But of course, by the time the family realized how sinister Aya actually was, it was way too late. If you want to know how this story ends, then make sure you check out the new thriller Afraid from Blumhouse and Sony Pictures. In movie theaters August 30th.
You'll never trust AI again.
The history.
That's literally in like 2 days. Sharika, I said I check that out, man. That's that freaking AI movie. We could be learning out here, man. That's why I say when AI, when that be popping up on my phone, it be annoying. I be like declining it because I don't even want that on my phone because I don't want them that to have too much information on me, man. It's already in all the social medias and stuff, man. They be trying to promote it, trying to push it. I'm just like, I'm good on that. I don't need AI like that. That definitely sounds like an interesting movie I need to check out, though.
Of the Beldam and why she does what she does. Part 2. So in part 1, we established that the Beldam was once a woman who lived in the Pink Palace apartments over 150 years ago. And we know this because Coraline is based in Ashland, Oregon, and the town of Ashland was settled on January the 12th, 1852. It is believed that the Beldam was one
of the settlers of Ashland and that she was the first owner of the Pink Palace apartments.
It is also believed that she was a respected seamstress of the town of Ashland and that she had a garden made in her honor. And this would explain the striking similarities between the Beldam's face and the shape of the garden in the real world. And we know that the Beldam was most likely a seamstress when she lived in Ashland because of how good she is at sewing. In fact, the entire opening scene of Coraline is dedicated to the Beldam's ability to sew. Then, sometime in the 1850s, the Beldam stumbled upon the well and stepped into this fairy circle. And this is the same fairy circle that Coraline steps into at the start of the movie. And according to mythical scripture, a fairy circle resembles a magical portal to another world. The Beldam then fell down the well and discovered the other world. And we know by this point she was an evil woman because she murdered her own mother. It's confirmed in the book that she buried her own mother alive and would push her mother back into the grave every time she would try to escape. After the Beldam had fallen through the well, she discovered this whole new world that was full of magic. But the world had a dark, evil twist. The only way to keep the magic alive in that world was by giving up a soul. But because she was the only one living in the Pink Palace apartments at the time, she had to give up her own soul. But the Beldam's soul could only keep the magic alive for so long. And with the magic dying, so did the Beldam. She began to deteriorate and age. This is the Beldam at her most true form. This is why, at the end of the movie, when Coraline refuses to give up her eyes to the Beldam, which are the windows to the soul, her skin deteriorates and starts to look like a skeleton. Because in real time, in the real world, the Beldam is realistically over 150 years old and should be well dead by now. So in between the 1850s and 1921, when the first child moved into that house, the Beldam deteriorated, she lost a lot of magic, and therefore she had to feed off the soul of that kid to keep her world alive. And we know the year was 1921 because in Miss Spink and Miss Forcible's flat in the movie, there are dates upon each of the taffy bowls. And each date is when each kid went missing. And it's believed that the dates on top of the taffy bowls are in the same order as the deaths of the ghost children. So in the year 1921, the Beldam killed this girl here with the white brim hat. Then 15 years later, in 1936, a new family moved into the Pink Palace apartments and the Beldam killed this boy right here. And then the Beldam's final victim was in 1960 when she killed Wybie's grandma's twin sister. This is the photo that Wybie shows Coraline at the end of the movie of his grandma and her twin sister at the Pink Palace in the year 1960. And then almost 50 years later, Wybie's grandma becomes the landlord of the Pink Palace apartments and protects Wybie from the Beldam at all costs.
This girl got cut into 2,000.
I knew it was based off a true story like that.
On
Folklore.
January 19th, 1996, the mutilated remains of Diao Aiqing, who disappeared 9 days prior, were found across multiple locations in China. Her body had been dismembered into over 2,000 pieces. The case remains unsolved and it's one of the most notorious crimes in Chinese history. On January 10th, 1996 in the evening, Diao and her college roommate were punished for the illegal use of an electric appliance. After a conflict with the dormitory management, she left the building and did not return. Diao was last seen alive wearing a red coat with a black lining. She was reported missing, but her family was not notified by the authorities until January 19th. The discovery of Diao's remains in the winter of January 19th was first reported by a sanitary worker. Initially, he thought it was pork, so he brought it home for food. And while preparing the meat for himself, 3 human fingers were found in it. The worker then reported the discovery to the police, and they confirmed they were human fingers. Human remains in plastic-wrapped packages were eventually discovered across 8 locations around the university, including at a stadium, entrance gate, hospital, and along roadsides. The police later confirmed that the scattered remains were of Diao's and informed her father to visit Beijing. Between January 20th and 30th, Diao's head and clothes were found. More than 2,000 human remains were recovered. Diao's head and internal organs were boiled for several days. Crucial organs including the heart, liver, and spleen were never found. The forensics team was only able to identify the remains as belonging to a female through the analysis of body hair and muscle tissue. Relatives of Diao were able to identify her through a mole on her right cheek. A senior officer involved in the case described the killing as really cruel, which in my opinion is a nice way to put it. The officer also added that the pieces of flesh were dissected with high precision, only achieved by an individual with great understanding of anatomy. Police concluded that the murderer must have been a professional butcher or surgeon.
Teachers and students then became the subject of investigation. 2 suspect profiles were brought up, including a single physical fit middle-aged male. However, the university department could not find any individuals that matched the characteristics of the profile. A major investigation was launched in the university and the areas around, but no major clues of the crime were found and the case failed to make any progress. In 2016, Nanjing police told the family of Diao that the case is still under investigation. Okay, so let's talk about this case for a second. If the killer was never found and he had the skill to dissect somebody into 2,000 pieces and never get caught with it, don't you think he might be a serial killer? And if he was, how many more people do you think he murdered after Diao? The dedication and skill, and honestly the obsession to cut somebody into 2,000 pieces and not get caught with it is crazy. This person could be walking around the streets of China today doing the same things to other people that he did to Diao. The thought of that is absolutely disturbing, and may Diao rest in peace.
A real life pixie? Or was that an edit? What do you guys think about that one?
This exotic bat with an overdeveloped face, first found in Kenya, could be the carrier of many bad things animal wildlife officials fear. Its large head does not look like any bat ever seen before, and its eyes look very big as well. You don't get to see its teeth though, but I can only assume they are as massive as the rest of its cranium. To make matters worse, most of these strange bats start to appear throughout the area. No one knows where they came from, or what has caused them to have such mutated features. If this new species does carry some sort of strange disease, I really hope they are able to quarantine it and keep it from spreading to other parts of the world. Number 6. A man takes a picture stance and the camera person quickly backs away. Moments later, you get to see what they were so afraid of.
What?
What the fuck?
An overhead tomahawk throw deeply embeds a pair of scissors into the exact place that she was just standing. Slowly, they realize just how close he came to sending his friend to the hospital.
Damn.
Look again and you can see that would have gotten her in the midsection if she hadn't moved away in time. If it goes that deep into solid wood, imagine how much deeper the scissors would have gone. Number 5.
Ooh.
Michael and Durez is in a car full of friends when they hear a distant voice call out from the nearby woods. I didn't really hear much the first time I watched, but when they slow it down, you can clearly hear someone say something like, "Help me, guys." I think this should be paranormal, because it doesn't sound like a normal human voice at all. Theoretically speaking, a person screaming at a speeding car with the windows rolled up would almost certainly not be heard by anybody inside. Number 4.
Okay.
This video was taken years ago when Justin Bieber had to go to court. Wearing an orange jumpsuit, he looks straight at the camera with a very serious expression, and his eyes change into creepy off-white color. He blinks again and then quickly looks away. A YouTuber named RyGuyVA captured this video, and as you can see at the end, he is recording a live broadcast on his flat-screen TV. This means this is either an error with the news equipment, or else something we will never be able to properly explain.
4K.
Stop scrolling, because if you like paranormal, you're going to want to see this. And it is semi-disturbing, but I just need to know, is this real, or is this the ultimate hoax?
Do you believe in mermaids? Because supposedly one just washed up on the beaches of Kenya. I'm going to show you a video in a minute, but my mind is blown. Tell me in the comments what you think, and I'm going to show you the video. Trigger warning. It's fucking crazy.
Check this out.
It's grunting.
Now, what do you guys think about Seekers, man? We've been watching these past couple of videos how they said they do believe in Kenya, over that part of the world, they do believe in the mermaids and things like that. Mermaids are sirens, so was that a mermaid, siren, something else? A mutation going on? What do you guys think? It's a creepy one.
The paranormal chick here.
Take a look at this video that was captured around August 12, 2023 in Kenya. The witness was actually able to capture 2 videos of this truly unexplainable object. Is this a UFO? It's definitely not a drone nor a plane. But what exactly did he record? Take a look and tell me what you think.
Ain't no shooting star. What the hell is that? I don't think that's a drone either. Nah. Just go back and forth. Is he trying to make a shape or something? Another one. How come I ain't seen this shit trending on Twitter, man? They trying to hide this stuff from us? It's 2 of them. I thought it was just one. The more you know, Seekers. What do you guys think that was? I need your help down below.
This beautiful house here has never been occupied for the last 30 years since the locals believe that it is infested by evil spirits. It is located in a place called Ruiru, 30 kilometers from the city of Nairobi. What makes the house more creepy is the design that looks similar to Freemason hole. Locals claim that at night voices will be heard from the house. And if you had courage to live there, you had to prepare for unseen forces. Others even claim that there was a lady who moved to live in the house with her family. She did have information that every man who lived in that house died and the wife becomes a widow. There was also another tenant who applied to move in with his family. That by the time they moved in upstairs, they found that the other things that they had taken up were already arranged. And they ignored because they were tired. At night, windows started opening and banging heavily from invisible forces. Early the next morning, they left without asking for the refund of their paid rent. An Indian businessman also rented the house and burnt incense inside the house to appease the spirits. 6 months later, the locals saw him running out of the compound and was never seen again. The question is the house really haunted, or are these just stories created by the locals?
You guys think, man, there's a couple of freaking creepy stories that a family's moving in and weird crap happening, and they moved out. Me, I'm not even taking that chance. If y'all say if a house is something haunted, man, there's a history behind it, deuces, I'm gone, bro. I don't do those bad spirits, man.
Kuna UFO inapita. Hebu mnasonga hivi. Nipate after image. Tutapiga hiyo tanzo. Wadau UFO inashuka man. Hiyo si ni UFO.
A cloud? Okay. What's going on with them? Why are they walking like that in that motion?
In the late 1980s, in the city of Mombasa, Kenya, something truly terrifying occurred. It was nighttime, and I was driving back home all alone when I noticed a beautiful young lady standing by the roadside. She asked for a lift, but I couldn't understand why she was out there in the middle of nowhere by herself. Despite my confusion, I decided to stop and give her a lift. She said she needed to go home and that she couldn't find anyone late at this time, so I agreed to take her back to her place. As we drove, I realized we were heading to an unfamiliar and isolated area. It was a deserted road with nothing but darkness and emptiness all around. We drove for about 45 minutes to an hour away from the city. I became curious and asked her when we would reach at her place, but she assured me it was nearby. We had a long talk while driving, and she seemed fairly like a normal person. Eventually, we arrived, and I saw her house was in terrible shape. It looked old and abandoned, with nothing nearby, just trees and overgrown grass. I asked her, "Do you live here?" She replied, "Yes, I have lived here for the past 60 years, even though she looked much younger." When she got out of the car, she invited me to stay the night since it was already late. As I was already feeling tired, I accepted her offer without any hesitation and entered the house. I fell asleep within minutes after laying down on the bed, but when I woke up the next day, I was terrified by what I saw. I found myself in a cemetery, sleeping between two graveyards. Panic surged through me, and I fled from that place as quickly as I could and drove back home. It took me a month to return to my normal life after this incident, though the experience still haunts me to this day, and I've never stayed out late at night since then.
Try to bury him alive or something, man? It's too trusting.
The equatorial sun dips low on the Kenyan horizon, casting long, spectral shadows among the stone ruins of an ancient city. This is Getty, a silent and deserted testament to a civilization that has long since passed into the annals of time. Our journey takes us into the labyrinthine alleys, once bustling with the life and chatter of Swahili culture. Now, only the whispering wind moves through the abandoned structures, carrying with it a chilling echo of laughter that once filled these streets. As we venture deeper, are you starting to feel the shivers of unease? Can you hear the whispers of the past? Drop a comment below and let us know. In the heart of the city, under the skeletal remains of what was once a grand palace, reports tell of spectral sightings. Phantom figures, their forms vague and blurred by the ravages of time, seem to stand guard over their long-forgotten home. The air is dense with unseen energy, as though the very spirits of the past still linger, locked in an eternal dance with the ruins. The myths of the locals tell tales of the jinn, supernatural beings born of smokeless fire, acting as the ethereal sentinels of this abandoned city. And then there's the laughter, a disembodied sound that seems to hang in the still air. A joyous echo from an era long past, yet it brings an unsettling feeling of being watched, of intruding on a space where ancient specters continue their ageless existence. As we draw our exploration to a close, under the vast, starlit African sky, one cannot help but feel a profound sense of connection with the spectral denizens of Getty. The chilling whispers, ghostly figures, and inexplicable laughter serve as a reminder that, in some places, the past refuses to be forgotten. As the haunting image of Getty ruins fades from your screen, tell us, would you dare to visit this ancient, spectral city after dark? Could you brave the whispers of the past and the laughter of unseen specters?
No!
Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more chilling explorations into the world's most haunted places.
I don't think I could. That's a no for me. Too much bad energy over there. Dang, they file their teeth. It's like every, you can culture do things differently, man. But to file their teeth and say that was a sign of beauty. How can you do that? That must hurt, bro. You filing all your teeth like that? Oof. The more you know, man. What the? Oh no, I hit the jets, but we out. What the hell was that follow? I'm hitting the jets.
was as mischievous as he was curious. Kofi often pushed the boundaries set by his parents. Parents would gather their little ones around the fire recounting the story of the Wasaka. It spoke of a mysterious creature, a fearsome being from the depths of hell that prowled in the darkness, seeking out disobedient children. The tale was passed down through generations, a cautionary reminder of the importance of obedience and respect. Unbeknownst to Kofi, his disobedient ways had caught the attention of the Wasaka. The creature watched from the shadows, its presence concealed by the darkness. Late one night, as Kofi snuck out of his home, the creature materialized before him, its eyes burning like embers in the night. Kofi froze, his heart pounding in his chest. The Wasaka spoke with a voice that resonated through the night. It recounted the tales of disobedient children who had crossed its path, only to face dire consequences for their actions. With each word, Kofi's fear transformed into remorse. He saw the pain and disappointment his own actions had caused his parents. The Wasaka vanished into the night, leaving behind a sense of responsibility and a newfound understanding of the importance of obedience. From that day forward, Kofi became a changed boy. He listened and followed attentively to his parents' guidance and wisdom.
Got to. Shapeshifter confirmed.
Please listen to me when I say that today's case is a current investigation and it is disturbing and ongoing. So if you don't want to listen to something that might distress you, please just skip this. It's okay.
Seek the truth over
2
here.
weeks ago, a horrific discovery was made in the Shakola forest in Kenya. There was a mass grave filled with 90 corpses, the majority of which were children. There were so many bodies that the police had to stagger the search for them, as the local morgues were just getting overcrowded and full. And so the authorities had to reach out to the Kenya Red Cross for refrigerated containers to store the bodies as they waited in line for an autopsy. The grim discovery, understandably, has totally shocked Kenya, but things got worse when they learned why this mass grave occurred. The dead, wrapped in cotton shrouds, had belonged to a strange cult in Kenya, which cult leader Paul Mackenzie Nathenge led. He had taught his followers that the only way to meet with God truly was by starving oneself to death. Now, this sort of twisted teaching is even more shocking when investigators have subsequently learned that Nathenge and his fellow leaders were eating and drinking as normal, urging their followers to fast until they died of hunger, while the leaders ate on. These kids were starved, often at the urging of their own parents, who had become convinced that it was the only way for them to escape the turmoil of this world and to meet with their creator. This cult, by the way, is called Good News International Church. It's a kind of pseudo-Christian cult, and it had a sickening hierarchy to this. They taught that the children had to starve themselves to death first, then the women, and then finally the men would follow. Hence why over half of the bodies were children, and most of the rest were women. And so 34 members of this cult were found alive in the forest, which is near the coastal town of Malindi. Some of them were just hiding in the bushes and were close to death after following the teachings of their leader. Now, the president of Kenya, a guy called William Ruto, vowed to crack down on these rogue and dangerous cults. And like I say, people are just traumatized and horrified. Now, the leader, this Paul Mackenzie Nathenge, was a former taxi driver who then became a televangelist and founded this cult in 2003. Now, he had already been arrested back in 2017 for urging parents not to send their children to school because he believed that education was unbiblical. And he was arrested again last month after 2 children starved themselves to death while being looked after by their cult member parents.
How'd he get out?
Now, this happened 2 weeks ago, like I said. But since then, new details have emerged because investigators have uncovered more to this case. Firstly, the death rate has rose since then. Now it's 133, and they're expecting that figure to rise again. But the autopsies on all those bodies, so not all of them, but a lot of them I think, have been completed, and they've revealed something. Starvation does appear to be the leading cause of death, but some of the victims, including the children, were murdered and beaten, strangled and suffocated. What's more, the autopsy revealed that the children had missing organs, which means that this cult was harvesting the children's organs to sell.
For money.
Believe it or not, the human body organ trade does actually exist. Sometimes they're sold for religious purposes, with claims that body parts, particularly of children, can have magical or healing properties. As for this cult leader behind all of this, Paul Nathenge, well, he was granted bail last Thursday.
How?
However, prosecutors are pleading for him to be held in custody until the investigation is complete.
Yeah.
I'll watch this story and keep an eye on it and let you know of any significant updates, but I just thought it was remarkable enough and sad enough to bring to your attention that these things happen. Well, if you want more spooky, strange, and, well, I guess disturbing stories like this, you can follow me on TikTok, or check out my Scary True Stories show, Frightful. It's a podcast. It's available all over the place for free. I've just finished an episode all about imaginary friends, and that explores the paranormal and supernatural elements of that. Or if you're into reading, then you can maybe check out some of my books on Amazon. Just search Peter Laws. Thanks.
That was a freaking sickening case, man. Tell you, man, when people get wrapped up in a cult, in a group like that, they'll do anything, man, that they say. Like I said, it's scary how that type of person, they can have an influence on your life like that, and you just follow every word they say to the T, man. We learning out here today, Seekers. You know, this world is a cruel place.
$120 years in prison, but don't you dare feel bad for her. This woman's name is Brandy Worley. She had a husband and also is the mother of 2 kids. But another thing is, she was cheating on her husband, and her husband had finally had enough. He told her that he was going to divorce her, and she knew that if they got divorced, her husband would get full custody of their children because of her infidelity. This was something Brandy could not fathom. So she did the unthinkable. One night, after her husband was already sleeping in the basement, she snuck into her kids' rooms and cut their throats. In 2018, Brandy was sentenced to 120 years in prison.
Serial killer facts you probably didn't know, part 1. In the case of John Wayne Gacy, he crammed so many bodies underneath his house that they actually started to melt together. It took autopsy detectives almost 2 years to find out what bones belonged to what skeleton. Jeffrey Dahmer actually gave people sandwiches in his apartment building, which more than likely contained actual human flesh, but no one fully knows. The reason Jack the Ripper always unalived his victims by slicing their neck was because it was a way for him to never get blood on his clothes. Like and follow for more.
This is some dark facts, man. I never even knew.
At night, you really couldn't see all the details.
That's Robert.
But they cleaned them up really good when they examined him. But that's the original lion, too.
That's cap. You do have to ask for permission, or we're gonna haunt you. I know what they
The
got
world's
that
worst job, otherwise known as Shein or Shein, however you pronounce it. Hi, my name is Ethan, and let's get right into this. Recently, I've heard a lot of rumors about how bad the Shein workers are treated each day, and honestly, nothing could have prepared me for what I learned. This all started in June of 2022 when a viral TikTok displayed articles of Shein clothing with handwritten messages stating, "Need your help." According to Brightly.eco, they state that the average Shein worker works 7 days a week in 18-hour shifts. They even found that some of the workers were seen washing their own hair while they were at work just to keep up with their personal hygiene. Not only do they work a lot, but they also make a base salary of $556 a month to make 500 articles of clothing each day. Let me know what you guys think.
It's basically legalized slavery, bro. You know overseas, man. I guess how they be treating your workers, but that just sounds something straight out of a horror story. World needs more kindness, man. That's why we gotta appreciate the clothing, man, we got. Because of the hard work these people be going through to make it.
Have you ever wondered how accurate police sketches are? I'm going to show you a couple police sketches and then we're going to see what the people looked like when they were actually caught. And I cover all sorts of true crime and spooky stuff on this page, so make sure you follow along. Starting with this one. So this was a man who SA'd a minor, and this was the description that she gave to the police. And as you can see, this is really close. He has the big glasses that go up over his eyebrows, broad nose, really round face. Even the hairline is pretty similar. This is a woman who stole a baby from a maternity ward. And she was actually caught 10 hours after the sketch was released because she looks almost identical to it. So the witness who gave the description to the police officer for this one was actually intoxicated when he saw her. But that person basically got it identically correct. You can see her wispy bangs, super round face, the way that her hair comes down over the sides of her face. Even her eyebrow shape is perfect. These sketches were all done by a woman named Lois Gibson, who holds the Guinness World Record for most successful police sketch artist. She helped solve over 1,000 crimes in her 30-year career.
Damn. She like a Picasso. Terrible crime story? Ate him alive? What the hell?
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 35. This creature is known as a woolly monkey, and due to poachers and people trading and selling them illegally, there's only 1,000 of these little guys left in the world. The uncanny valley is a phenomenon in which people become fearful at things that are very close to human, but something isn't quite right. Throughout history, mummies actually weren't that rare, that is, until the Victorian British ate so many of them. During the Arctic exploration, one of the scientists was complaining that his shoes were soaking wet. Later, when he took them off, he found this was because his feet were decaying and liquidized with his blood. A man once donated his recently deceased mother's body for scientific research. Later, he discovered that the research facility sold it to the US Army for $5,000, strapped it to a chair, and blew it up with explosives.
What was the purpose of that? Need a sue, bro.
Terrifying interviews with serial killers. Part 1. John Wayne Gacy.
And there are a lot of things I can't remember. The same thing with the victims. I've looked at all of, I don't know if you notice here, we got pictures of every one of the victims here. And believe it or not, for the last 12 years, I've studied these photos of these victims. We have a shot of all of the victims together here. And when you look over at the photos, I have no recollection of any of them. Never met them. And we've gone over this more than once. They're just names and faces. And when you look at them,
that's insane. He has no recollection.
The Robert doll might be crazier than the Annabelle doll.
Robert doll.
You've never heard of it?
Is this like part of the Conjuring shit?
Just a cursed doll, and it's in a museum in Florida, right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you the whole backstory, right?
Okay.
So a kid named Eugene,
yeah,
he got a present, like a life-sized human doll made out of straw from his grandfather. Since it's life-sized, Gene took it like wherever he went. Like everything he did it with the doll.
Like a best friend.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing happened until like I think a year into the doll being in his presence.
Yeah.
That the grandpa and the grandmother started finding out some weird shit that was happening around the house.
Like what?
So in the middle of the night, right, Gene's door would be like creaked open. So whenever they passed it, they would hear Gene having a conversation with himself.
Oh,
right?
shit.
It's like a full-on conversation. And this is the craziest thing.
Yeah.
There were two different voices.
Yo,
so Gene and someone else. In the middle of the night, Gene, one night, Gene screamed like crazy, right? And the grandfather ran in the room. And all you'd see...
Hey, Robert the doll ain't no joke. We learned watching these... The John Wayne Gacy story.
If you see another person that looks identical to you, run away and hide.
So your twin, basically. Oh, doppelganger, what the hell? We throwing hands, man. Somebody look at me like that.
In terms of serial killer captures, Gacy had easily one of the best. By 1978, Gacy had been killing for a long time. He ran a successful contracting company, and the victims were his own workers. Obviously, he was doing kids' birthdays as the clown. People around town knew this guy. Like, he put on different events, weaseled his way into local politics areas with the first lady. He was part of all these different social clubs, just a pillar of the community. Which is always a suspicious title to me. I don't know. I feel like on the suspect hierarchy, obviously relatives, people with previous convictions, but also like keep an eye on the town community pillar. But eventually, multiple parents had come into the police station with the same story. My son's missing, he'd just gone off with this guy Gacy at his contracting business, so that led police to search his property, where they found some creepy shit. Also some really sus stuff like driver's licenses and personal items. But even despite finding some stuff, they didn't find any bodies, so they couldn't charge him. But they were very suspicious of Gacy now, so they started running surveillance on him and tailing him everywhere. But anyway, one night, Gacy's in his house. He must have looked out the window or something and sees the police, and with all the bravado in the world, struts outside and says to the officers, "Hey, why don't you guys come on inside and join me for coffee?" And they do. And while the officers come inside for coffee, one of the officers needs to use the bathroom. And while he's in the bathroom, the heat starts coming on and pumping air up, and something also came up. To the officer, the unmistakable smell of death. To Gacy, that's just my house smell. You know, he's probably so accustomed to the smell of advanced decomposition that it didn't even register. That eventually leads to the second search, where they start digging up Gacy's crawl space, where they find over 24 victims whose remains had obviously over a long period of time melted together.
The fact that he invited the police in for coffee shows, he truly thought he was gonna get away with it, man. He don't care. Those are the most dangerous people in the world, man. They don't fear danger at all.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Part 27. This photo shows an elderly couple doing the hokey pokey with a man named Dennis Rader, also known as the BTK Killer. He installed alarms for a living, and ironically, many clients booked his services to prevent him from entering their homes. This photo shows Luchadora Juana Barraza. She was sold to a man for 3 beers by her mother until her stepdad found her at age 17. Over the years that followed, she would strangle and rob over 45 old women that reminded her of her abusive mom. The man in the background is Christopher Wilde, aka the Beauty Queen Killer. This picture was taken on June 15th, 1984, and Chris is scouting future victims at a beauty pageant. This photo shows John Edward Robinson holding a baby girl named Tiffany. Just one day before this photo was taken, he murdered the baby's mother and gave Tiffany to his brother, saying that she was adopted. His brother, along with Tiffany, didn't find out the truth for 15 years.
That's dark. If you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a truth seeker. Thank you guys for seeking the truth from me today. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video, comment down below, hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload my next video. You guys are going to catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.